Ooh, we're live.
Yes, we are live. Hi, everybody. Welcome to today's episode of Create, Engage, and Succeed. I am here with
Are you
Amadeus.
talking to
Well,
me? Are
you
you talking to
usually,
me?
yeah, usually introduce it a little bit more.
Amadeus, she's talking to you.
Yeah, okay, with me, Amadeus, and Jordan by our guests today.
Oh, I'm just joking. My name is James. I'm happy to be here. a little bit stunned. Sorry, I was just thinking about we like all of a sudden the red light comes on. It says live, right?
Yes.
And I'm always, because I use StreamYard and I use Zoom sometimes, but I'm always caught like. And then at some point in time, you're live. And you're like, right? the first awkward. Is anybody watching me?
Well, and I am definitely not on top of my game today. The cats woke me up at 4 o'clock this morning,
Oh my god!
and then I couldn't fall back asleep, and then I got sucked into the news, which is never a good way to start your day. So, and I'm only on my first cup of tea. So anyway, this is going to be a fun adventure. So for those of you who have watched our show before, you know that Amadeus and I are related, and we are the co-founders of the Lavender Dragon team. What you may not know is that James and I have become internet friends, and we met, it's almost a year now.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's just been under a year, and a lot has happened in that time, right?
Yeah, quite a bit.
To all of us. Some of it are making, some of it not are making, as you know, Mary. But some of it also, like it feels like the pandemic has really, I don't know, how do I say it? This is a personal opinion, but almost like brought out the best and worst in people. Whatever it is that your personality is almost magnified 1,000 times under COVID. Like, and I have friends who are really, you thought there was a little bit of anxiety there, and now they're like, boom, like, oh my god, like either way, right? Either like my freedoms are being entrenched on, or oh my god, like I'm gonna get COVID because I looked at somebody, like
and my mood kind of varies from day to day. It's like, am I, or and you can have her join us, that's fine.
Do I come say hi again? My 6-year-old it's like, say hi.
Hi.
What are you looking for?
Hi.
Lollipops. Who serves their child lollipops at 7:30 in the morning? I do, because I'm on a show and I need to keep you quiet, don't I? I don't know.
That's like something I would have done, right?
Yeah, it does. That's fine.
Although I have to admit, Amadeus was the unusual child. Like a lot of times back in the before times when you could go to the grocery store with your children, you often see families with younger children crying for candy or something. Amadeus was the anomaly. He would cry when I wouldn't give him broccoli. So he would be driving through the produce section and he's like, I want broccoli. So
our youngest one is like that. She just loves vegetables. We're like, here's bacon. I don't want bacon. Here's ice cream. I don't want ice cream. Here's vegetables. Okay.
we would go trick-or-treating and Amadeus would go and get this whole bag of treats, and then I would throw it out the next year because he never ate it. He just had fun walking door to door.
It was the experience, not the end goal that mattered.
Right. It's all about the experience.
I don't know if you just turned yourself green intentionally there, Amadeus, but you're
Okay, so now we have more reports of the mysterious green meing.
Oh, you're back.
Okay. We're not sure what caused it. It just started happening. So
odd.
Just randomly turns green. At first he blamed it on me. Then we found out it happens with everyone. So for those of you watching, if Amadeus turns green, it's okay. It's part of the alien invasion. It'll all be all right.
It's not easy being green. That's all you got to remember.
There you go. So, which is the perfect segue, Amadeus, because aliens, green, superheroes, superpowers. Why don't you take it away?
Sure. Okay. So James, I'm going to ask you about your superpowers. First thing in the morning. It's a Wednesday. It's very early. Let's talk about some superpowers.
Yes. Okay. And when we talk about superpowers, we're talking about entrepreneur superpowers. Just because I don't
to clarify, but I mean, if we want to talk about real superpowers,
I have my kids think I'm a great superhero, which at this age, which I absolutely adore, which is awesome, by the way. But yeah, so I'm doing a free masterclass, or sorry, we're calling workshop. I'm calling a free. I had to get my mind wrapped around these things because currently I interchange masterclass, webinar, and workshop. and people are confused, and I'm like, of course you're confused, I need to use the same lingo. So we're doing a free workshop because you're actually doing work in that workshop. It's an hour
Uh-huh.
workshop coming up. I only do it 3 or 4 times a year, and my goal is to get you set up to take meaningful and amazing action in your business. And I like working with solopreneurs, aspiring coaches, consultants, healers, authors, speakers, um, and really being able to focus on the fact that they matter in what they do. It's really important who they rock, who they are, and then build your marketing around that superpower, so to speak.
So how do you find your superpower though, without giving away the whole workshop? I mean, how do you
Yeah,
find
well, it's
because that's a question that comes up a lot lately, and I'm
to
like,
be honest, that's probably one of my superpowers, is finding that superpower. Oddly enough, you and I don't know how to say it without sounding salesy, but you need to be able to speak to somebody who actually can do that. Now, there's a lot of people. So, for example, there's a lot of people who actually know you quite well and are really honest, and those are the people to ask. And your superpower essentially is, think about it this way: you know, um, Mary, there's a bunch of people who do what you do,
right,
right? In theory, you could find everything that you needed to online for free. That's just a reality. There are people who do what I do, and you could find everything that I do for free. But why is it that people choose you or they choose me, right? And that is the question that I'm putting out there. And so there's a little bit of price, a little bit of experience, but really it's about who you are, what you stand for, what you bring to the table, and how you make people feel. We're so focused on price, and at the same time, haven't you ever met like 3 or 4 business coaches? One of them is dirt cheap, the other one is 10 times as expensive, but you go with a more expensive one because somehow you believe or you trust or they have something, and that in the end is their superpower.
okay. So for somebody who's just starting out and they're really confused. I mean, and I'm going to use your example of, is it a
Yeah.
workshop? Is it a master class? Is it a, how do you like tighten up your message so you even know how to explain to people what your superpower is?
Oh, I love that one. It's all about using special words, so to speak. Not special words. How do I say the right words? Let me bring something up. It's a really good question. Let me bring this up if I can find
Sure.
it.
Yeah.
Actually, I have an idea. Amadeus, how do you feel about allowing me to be a host and taking over your show?
Hey, I mean, temporarily, sure, go for it. Although I'm not the host, so
Yeah,
we'll
you
have.
should be able to share. I've got host permission. I mean, I've got share permission set up for everybody.
All right, let me just find the slide I'm working for so you don't see the entire thing. But this is a really interesting question, so I do want to spend a little bit of time on it. Oh my goodness! Of course, it's the one thing I can't find at the moment.
It's
Okay, here
always
we
the
go.
one you're looking for.
All right. Okay. Let me see if
And
I
that's
can.
okay. We're having fun just doing patter while you're waiting to share.
All right. Here we go. Share the screen and then.
Hey, there we go.
Okay. Can you see this presentation?
Yes.
Okay.
Hmm.
Perfect. All right. Let's see if this works or not. I'm doing an opening line bio for this particular life coach. So they're doing an about us line, and I want to showcase more of their superpowers right now. But basically, just a reminder: all life coaches should be on an unbelievably white couch with a young, perfectly calm yellow Labrador. But I digress, right? And
Oh dear, I'll
so
never be a life coach.
and so I have 4 different superpowers for this life coach, and I put them down here. They are organized, empathetic, confident, and fun. And this is what we have on right now. So just hear me out for a second. If you're organized, these are terms you can use as an opening line. Life Coach X is determined to give you the lessons and structure required to create the life of your dreams.
Ah,
Right? If you're empathetic, you write, as somebody who used to do it, I understand how difficult it can be to balance priorities. I learned several years ago to hone into my intuition and feeling into the moment.
okay.
Confidence is Life Coach X has been living full out since he or she had a life changing experience. Since that time, there has been no fear, and he or she would like you to stand up and take charge of your own life. And finally, someone who's fun, fully enjoy your life, make decisions from the heart, and choose life over anxiety. Those are the lessons that I learned and what I teach my students looking to live life more fully. So
Okay.
you see the difference, how the difference tones, or how you can tell what somebody brings to the table even before they even meet the person. right? And the messaging is all there. And that's why it's really important. Like marketing speak is important, but you really have to get beyond the marketing speak to truly who you are at the same time.
Okay. So this is kind of like a even tighter version of the old 30-second elevator speech. But it's
Yes, that's
more
right.
on like who you are and what you offer versus
I don't know if I would call it tighter. I would just call it a little bit more genuine.
Okay.
And it's really interesting. So the important, I know, yes, they are just words, but words have such meaning, right? And if you use the right words, they absolutely can foreshadow something or what you do, right? And one of the cool things is I've worked with one of my well, he's a good friend now, and what I really liked, it took him like I did a beta test for this course in September, and it was 6 weeks long, and it took him 6 weeks to get it done.
Okay.
Which is not a problem. Like we're not, whatever. It got better every time. But I remember there was one where he did someone else's course at the same time as mine, and he came back, and he's the nicest guy ever. He's a little bit older. He's super duper friendly, and he's like everybody's favorite uncle, right?
Okay.
And so he came back one day, and he's like, I force people in midlife to take a hard look in the mirror and see what they've become. I mean, you're kind of, everybody in the room is kind of like, they're standing back and they're like, wow, this is just not you. And so he came back, and he, credit to him, every week he came back and he was the first one to put on chat what his new elevator pitch was. So that was what he would do. And he put it on, and one day he just nailed it. And it was neat because he not just nailed it, but he also said, this has changed me because I now know who I serve, and I now know who I bring to the table, right?
Oh,
so
wow.
sometimes, even though we think that we understand who our target market is, which is what we normally do, sometimes by finding the right words, we have much more clarity around what they look like.
Oh, that's brilliant.
It is.
So if I wanted to, let's say, send Amadeus on this path, how would he work with you?
The first thing is to honestly to do the masterclass to make sure you like my style of teaching. It's not for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
When we talk about superpowers, a lot of the times, I am most definitely not the most organized person in the world, and I'm okay with that. Like things sort of like fly haphazardly left and right, but the product is good, but you have to appreciate that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is part of the way of understanding superpowers is if you are really strong here, why are you spending all your time trying to fix something that is inherently not what you do? And that's kind of what schooling teaches us, right? And I'm not this is not poo-pooing on the schooling system, but it's true. If you have 7 A pluses and 1 B, what do you focus on?
Right.
That's not a trick question. You focus on the B. You're like, oh my God, what happened there? I need to spend more time here, and I need to spend more effort here. Rather than celebrating all your A pluses, you spend time on the B. So the best thing to do,
learn that because your parents was like, oh, great, you got 7 A's, but what are you doing with this 1 C?
Well, the psychology of this, right, is that you need to struggle on what you're weak at to be really good, which is actually not at all the case. You need to, everybody needs to do bookkeeping, I'm sorry to say.
Right.
But if it's not your strength, you should outsource it, right? Like all these things that come up. So come to the masterclass. That is the best way. I'm going to actually, there is going to be an opportunity to work with me. It only happens about 3 times a year. And during that opportunity to work with me, you're going to have pen to paper a lot of the times, because I'm going to help you start your superpower. I'm going to help you start to figure out, based on your superpower, what marketing you should use. And based on that superpower, how to find the right community for you and what to do within that community. So pen to paper, it can be, if you're looking for something that is life turning, this could be it. Like I said, I only do an intake about 3 times a year. Now is one of those times. So come sit for an hour. It could be life changing, especially if you're not sure what to do, or you're overwhelmed with the different choices that you have. Like, we talk about funnels, we talk about JV, we talk about Facebook ad, we talk about SEO, we talk about networking, we talk about Clubhouse now. Should I spend all my time on Clubhouse? Well, everybody else is doing it, so I better do it. Like
well, you mentioned that, and it's funny because we do a weekly coaching for course creators, and only 2 people showed up last week, so we spent almost the whole time getting all of us on Clubhouse.
Oh my God. Does that make sense? So but sometimes people are like, oh, well, these people are doing it, so I better do this. So you go out of FOMO, fear of missing out, because um, you buy these funnel softwares and these affiliate softwares because you don't want to miss out on JVs, which is important, but you have nobody to send them, so there's no point in having these softwares. Like there's certain steps that you need to do before you spend all your money on systems that you feel fix that problem, which they don't.
Yeah, and we're laughing because not only have we experienced that, we've seen that with some of our clients, and it's like, no, what we really want you to do is do the lowest point of entry cost wise and figure it out before you go out and invest. It's like, well, you have this software. Yeah, because we professionally use this, but you don't need this $1,200 software program and this $500 software program because you're not going to use it the way we do. So let's figure out the least painful, dollar amount point of entry and get your product out there before you worry about all these other fancy schmancy things.
Yes. Yes,
So,
and we tend to try to build things in parallel too. I don't know if you've seen that I'm sure you have, right? Instead of building one thing that makes a monumental difference, then build the next thing, then build the next thing, and giving us a little bit of patience. But it's almost like we see somebody who is 20 years in the making, and we want to be there tomorrow.
Yeah. No, and it's just like in the music industry or Hollywood or whatever. It's like, oh, they're an overnight star, and what you didn't see was the 25 years they spent traveling to college towns performing their comedy routine or whatever before somebody said, oh, hey, you're going to be a walk-on in this movie. We just see like, oh, they just burst onto the scene overnight. It's like, no. So how do you help people overcome that? Is that part of what you work with them on as well?
Yes. So what we do is what I do is I find their superpower, and then, we go through some modules like lead generation and conversion and keeping your tribe engaged. But, it looks different for everybody. And that's one of the best things about the course, because I have a bunch of digital marketing agency experience, as in I owned one for a number of years. And so, and I help people in this spot who have most of the time a shoestring budget. Let's be honest, right? Like it's not a huge budget. And so I help them figure out, okay, based on what you do, this is how we're going to find leads for you. And sometimes it's social media leads. Sometimes I'm like, you are so good, you should go on Clubhouse. Like, and there is that occasional person, but make sure you have a lead magnet, right? Do you see how we're trying to build that story?
Right.
For somebody else, it's like, okay, this is what you're going to do. You're going to go on JVology. You're going to talk to everybody there. You're going to add them as a friend. You're going to invite them to an appointment. You're going to like all these things. So that is essentially setting the foundation of what they are strong at. But either way, the point's still the same, right? The sales is just leads times conversions. So how are you finding those leads, and how are you going to convert them?
That makes sense. So yours is less of a, and I don't necessarily want to use cookie cutter, but there's a lot of folks out there that's like, I'm big name marketer, and if you buy my plan and you do these 5 steps, then you're going to make tens of thousands of dollars. And then people buy into the program and go, oh, wait a second. It's like, this is the same thing that all my friends are doing also, and we're not making any money. Yeah. It sounds like yours is more focused on, so Mary, you're not really comfortable doing X, Y, Z. So why don't we help you focus your direction here?
Yeah, that's exactly right. There was one person in the beta course who was like, she's so quiet, right? And she's absolutely adorable and amazing and one of my favorite people. And she's like, James, I should do more Facebook Lives. And it's kind of like, she sounds defeated. I should do more Facebook Lives. Why? Well, I just really need to, don't I? And I'm like, no, don't. If you don't want to do them, don't do them. Like, it's okay. Like, it's all good, right? Oh, there goes Amadeus. It's all
the alien's back.
All right, been abducted.
But that's just, so I'm distracted by green Amadeus. But that's just what it is, right? It's if you don't want to do it, then don't do it. But we will find a way to get your message out that is meaningful and amazing and really in your power.
So just to clarify, having raised 2 children, if you don't want to do it, don't do it. What you're saying, though, is if you don't want to do some things, you don't have to do those. But eventually you're going to have to do some marketing if you want
to do something. But make it fun for yourself.
Yeah, but I'm just
figure out what that is.
Just going to dig in and go, nope, not going to do that, not going to do that, not going to do that. It's like you got to do something.
Yeah, full on, right? So, for example, everybody's like, James, you have to get on Clubhouse. And I'm like, that sounds great. I am on Clubhouse. I went on there twice now, and it was fine. So, but the interesting thing is, next time I do this, I'm gonna try it out because it's something I'm interested in. But I'm only doing it once I've achieved steps 1 through 8. That's step 9. I'm
Right.
not doing step 9 before step 1. So all these people are like, I want to work with you, and then I'm like, oh, I want to work with you too, but I have no way to do it.
That makes sense. In going to like Clubhouse too, have a plan. Like I
Yeah.
just listen to it. I use it like I grew up with talk radio. So it's like, okay, it's just like listening to talk radio. It's not, I don't really do a lot of on stage. I'm just like, oh, this is a really cool conversation. We're talking about X. So speaking of Clubhouse and community, because I bounce all over the place, and we're getting close to the end of time and I want to have a little more conversation.
Yes.
You have a really fun,
Oh my God.
cool, active Facebook group
Yes.
with a very interesting name. So can you tell us how
Okay.
you
Okay. All right. I have to. There's a story here, and I'm saying, oh my God, because Mary knows the story, and it's something I'm not changing, by the way. So
I
at
love
one
it.
point in time, I named it after. So my company's Look Ahead Marketing, and it used to be called LAM, right? Like my last name, Lamb Public Group. Like it was the most uninspiring group name ever, and I'm like, no, that has to be more inspiring. So I'm going to change it to Everyday Superhero Entrepreneurs. Like every day you are a superhero because you are amazing. So and Facebook groups only allows you to change the name once every kind of half year. And so I put I I put it in and it said, "Are you sure you want to change?" I'm like, "Yeah, for sure." And then I typed it in one day. I'm like, I can't find my group. Where did it go? And instead of Everyday Superhero Entrepreneurs, for some reason I put Every Superhero Entrepreneurs, which makes no sense at all. But I kind of love it because it's kind of growth minded, and it was. When I put a funny post, I was like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry for you grammar Nazis. This is like the worst thing ever. I understand." But everybody got behind it, and I think it's one of the coolest things now because it demonstrates that you build success on failure, and
Mhm.
that is one of the best things I can tell you, right? Is you build success on failure, um, and that was a genuinely funny and hilarious mistake, and I think that was important to have done.
Yeah, no, and I thought it was great because I was in the group before and then there was this name change and I got the notification and I'm looking at it going, huh? I was like, oh, well, it just, the group changed this name and then it's,
we have an ex well, in Australia they would call it a journo, and she's Australian, right? An ex journalist, and she almost died, right? Like she's like, oh my God, James.
yes.
Oh, it's hilarious. But one thing I will tell you about the group, Mary, is first of all, if you have something to promote, you should absolutely put that on, and I will support you because you and there's an analogy for life here somewhere, and I don't know what it is, but people are scared to post on that group. I want you to post on that group.
Mhm.
Right? I don't want it to be all about me. This is not the James Lamb show, although right now it is. But this is not actually the James Lamb show, right? I want to support people like yourself because you've been so good to me, and that is honestly what I'm saying, right?
Mhm.
Um, but here's the analogy in life: is there's people on there who kind of go on there and post, but they don't support anybody else's post, and I'm kind of right now I'm kind of doing giving them the side eye a little bit because it's quite self-serving, I find. So I
Mhm.
think the analogy in life in Jay Facette's terms is I'll go first, and you, Mary, have gone so many times first, and I would like to support you any way I can. So next time, let's have a conversation on every superhero's entrepreneurs, right? So let's do a show on there, and or post whatever you want, and let's have a discussion around that.
We can do a show. And for those of you that are interested in perhaps checking out the group, and Amadeus, I'd encourage you to, although he's not on social media quite as much as I am. The conversations are very interesting. Like we talked about, if we ever got together in public, Mary's going to be bringing brownies and cupcakes.
Oh my gosh.
What I do. But I'd also, we talked about like cooking the lamb that we cooked for dinner that one night. And then we kind of divulged into like the D&D cookbook. So it's not just business stuff, which is really cool. But I
Yes.
thought it was neat that we were also talking about, well, back in future times or in the before times, I would have, like, if I had a
Mhm.
team meeting, I
Yeah.
would be the one bringing donuts. And
Yep.
my family knew that at my corporate job, every Friday, I brought my team donuts. There's this little mom and pop shop. Everybody loved the donuts. And so that's what I do because food builds community. I have yet to figure out how to virtually build food, community food. like on your site, but maybe I'll just start sending, virtual donuts. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a really interesting question, isn't it? I think and I'd love to have you do this one day. I'm really interested in I really like the speed interviews that I currently do. I
Mhm.
have to figure out a way to make them more watchable, and I don't know what that is. And I think this is what it is. You need to. It's almost like and maybe you have an idea, YouTube, because you do gamification of courses, but there has to be a way to make it really easy to consume what the content is really quickly, get into it, and and be entertained,
Yes.
right? And again, I'm not actually sure what that is, but anyway, just I'll leave that in your hands. But there's something there. What happened is, um you know a lot of people get on, sorry, I know we're getting off topic, but whatever.
Oh, that's okay.
Like they get on Zoom, and then they kind of like talk for like an hour, and I don't know how to talk by yourself for an hour, like just me being, and I went here and I did this, and like it, and I'm trying to figure out who actually watches this, but apparently a lot of people do. So there you go.
Yeah, well, and it's the same thing that we face with our course creators. Like, no, you don't want to do an hour-long Zoom. Nobody wants to listen to you talk for an hour. So Amadeus and I will put our heads together and see what kind of fun things we can come up with to gamify your speed talks and let you
Yeah.
know. I love the concept. I think I've already got a few ideas popping through my head. I just got to see if I can make them work. So check back with me. We are almost out of time. I know that, James, you've got probably breakfast and family to
Yes.
get woken up, and and we try to stay within that 25 to 30-minute thing.
Hmm.
So if people wanted to attend your masterclass, where do they go? And I'll also post it in the show notes. But
Yes.
how do they find you, or how do they find your masterclass? And can anyone who's an entrepreneur join your every superhero entrepreneur group?
First of all, one of the key planks of being a really good superhero powered entrepreneur is having strong community. So if you need a community, I am absolutely thrilled to share the one that we've built in Look Ahead Marketing. Every superhero entrepreneurs, which is there. But look, the big thing is, Mary's going to send you the web address as an affiliate code. So I absolutely know, and Mary's one of my good friends here, so I want to give her credit to it. And yeah, I think that's the easiest way. So you're going to put it in the show notes.
I'll put it in show
I think it's
notes,
probably the best way to
put it
go.
in
Yeah.
the comments.
Yeah.
Everywhere that we are, I will make sure that it's there. But when are the 3 webinars? I know there's one tomorrow.
There's one tomorrow at 10 a.m. And that's a good one to attend if you can do it. Our ads haven't picked up yet, and so I think there's only like 15 or 16 people on that webinar. So you can bet that I'm going to be spending a lot of time focusing on certain people. So if you're looking for individual coaching, that's a really good place to start.
Okay.
Otherwise, next week, and by the time our ads are firing, it's going to be much larger. And I think we finally got it figured out. But next week, Tuesday, Thursday, twice.
Excellent.
Morning and afternoon. One's morning, evening, one's morning, afternoon.
So if you're not watching this today, or if you're catching this on the replay, we are January the 20th, 2021. So this will be either January 21st or January 28th or January 26th. I had to do the math and go backwards.
Mary, that is your superpower. I just found it.
I don't math at all.
What's January 26th, 2022? It's a Wednesday. No, I'm just joking. I don't actually know.
Well, if tomorrow's the 21st, you add 7, that makes 28, subtract 2, and it puts you on Tuesday.
There you go.
So on that note, thank you so much for tuning in. I'll have the link to the webinar in the show notes. If you've got any questions, I've added James to the Diamond Factor Experience group as well. He's also my Facebook friend. Tag him in a post. He'll see it, or I'll ping him and say, hey, James, someone has a question. We look forward to seeing everybody next week, when we're going to be talking with my new friend, Mike, who's running a class on how to run Facebook ads, which is something I have no clue how to do. So I think that will be fascinating. And James, best of luck with the masterclass webinar workshop.
Oh my gosh. The all 3, right? The combo.
And it doesn't
Afterward,
even
we can hang out at every superhero entrepreneurs.
On that note, everyone, have a fantastic day, and we will see you next week.
Thanks for having me. Bye.
Thanks for
Nice to be here.
Bye.